I'm genuinely excited today because we're taking you to the grand opening of a brand new restaurant here in Las Vegas. And even more exciting, I get to use two words you'll never hear together anymore: French and affordable. This is not one of those stuffy, pretentious French restaurants that can push people away. Instead, it's warm, comfortable, and modern. The kind of cooking that's meant to be enjoyed, not overthought. Simple, soulful, and as the French would say, parfait, perfect. It's a welcome new addition to our fair city, located just off the Strip, and it already feels like the kind of place locals are going to quietly fall in love with. Today, we're here for brunch. And make sure to stick around to the end of the video, because today's restaurant, Fork, has a special offer just for our viewers. Welcome to Let's Eat Vegas, your guide to the good, the bad, and the delicious. I'm a former chef and restaurant owner who knows food and tells it like it is. All right, let's get started. Wow, what a beautiful way to start a meal. 2 eggs cooked any style, breakfast potatoes, and your choice of bacon or sausage. Well, let me start with the potatoes, because they deserve it. These are some of the best I've ever had. Too many places serve potatoes drowning in grease, but these are a perfect example of how breakfast potatoes should be done. Light, crisp, and expertly seasoned, right on the edge of saltiness without going too far. The peppers add a beautiful sweetness, and the potatoes are crisp on the outside while staying fluffy, almost creamy on the inside. The eggs are cooked perfectly, just a little jammy, not runny, but the yolks still give way and spill out beautifully when you dip your toast into them. I've been a dunker my whole life. What's your favorite style for eggs? Let me know in the comments below. While a serious bacon lover, I chose the sausage. After all, I come from a long line of sausage makers from Europe, and later carried that tradition into my own restaurant kitchen. So this one had my full attention. Well, it's magnificent. A proper breakfast sausage with subtle notes of sage, seasoned just enough to please the palate, and fatty enough to stay juicy and moist. The casing snaps when you bite into it, and a touch of black pepper adds just the right amount of heat. Simple, classic, and done exactly right.
C'est magnifique.
The basket features freshly baked pastries, including a blueberry muffin, chocolatine, Swedish sugar brioche, and cranberry pave. Everything arrives warm, fresh, and was genuinely delicious. And now a true French classic, and one of my personal favorites. One bite into this, and I feel like I'm back in Paris. This is a beautiful, deeply flavorful take on a timeless dish. Now you may be asking, what's with the change from Monsieur to Madame? Well, the difference between a croque madame and a croque monsieur is simply the egg. And cut into it at just the right spot, let that yolk spill over the sandwich, creating that lava-like moment that makes this version so irresistible. That flowing egg is exactly why I love it so much. The key to any great croque is the sauce. It's always about the sauce. And this one absolutely nails it. Bechamel, one of the very first sauces you're taught in culinary school, is used here exactly as it should be. Silky, rich, perfectly balanced, textbook execution. The ham is just as important, and it's where many versions fail. Here it's thinly sliced, properly cured, and full of clean pork-forward flavor that pairs beautifully with the bechamel and egg. Rich, buttery, indulgent, and deeply satisfying, this is comfort food at its finest, done the French way. Now, the salad you see here accompanied several dishes, so I want to talk about it just once. Where do I begin? Well, a few years ago, I remember watching a cooking show hosted by Bobby Flay, where he said it was practically a crime to overdress a salad. That's a viewpoint I don't entirely agree with, but to each his own. And that got me wondering, how would Chef Flay judge this salad? Well, before I tell you what I think, I'm curious where you land on this. Do you believe a salad should be lightly dressed and let the greens speak for themselves? Or do you want bold flavor and a dressing that actually announces itself? Tell me in the comments. I really want to know where you stand on this. If you like salads that are barely dressed and almost taste naked, this is absolutely the salad for you. Visually, it's bright and very pleasing to the eye. The spring mix stays fresh, and the sweet, firm baby tomatoes add a nice pop of juiciness that does reset the palate between bites. In that sense, it does its job, a refreshing cleanser and a welcome break from all the rich, buttery sauces on the table. But honestly, for my palate, it was just too lightly dressed and a little bland. I gravitate toward bold, assertive flavors that really stimulate the palate, and this one never quite got there. So this was not my cup of tea. When done right, the Bloody Mary is one of the most satisfying cocktails you can order. At Fork, they do it right. Their Bloody Mary mix is completely from scratch, and it shows. The spice level is spot on, giving you a gentle kick without overwhelming the palate or burying it under herbs and salt. It's bold, clean, incredibly well balanced. Subtle perfection, and the perfect brunch accompaniment. Chicken and waffles have deep roots in American cuisine, but when a French chef reinterprets the classic, this is what it can become, an absolute work of art. The history of this dish is as rich as its flavor. Early versions appeared in the late 1800s, but chicken and waffles truly found fame in the 1930s inside Harlem jazz clubs, where late-night crowds wanted something hearty, comforting, and indulgent after hours of music. The South embraced it as well, already having a love affair for all things fried chicken, and the addition of fluffy waffles just made it all that much better, turning it into a soul-nourishing classic that stood the test of time. Fried chicken holds a special place in my heart. It was one of the signature dishes at my own restaurant, and I still remember Brian Luttrell from the Backstreet Boys coming in with his family on a regular basis. They were convinced I made the best fried chicken, and coming from a Southern family, I took that as a serious compliment. Every Sunday at brunch, we paired it with waffles, and it became so popular, we added it to the regular menu. Well, this elevated version takes that familiar comfort and turns it into something truly refined. It's Instagram-worthy, cover of Bon Appetit beautiful. The waffle alone is outstanding. Light as air, delicate, with a rich vanilla flavor, and just enough maple syrup to keep things interesting without becoming cloying or stealing attention from the chicken. Sitting on top are perfectly fried, beautifully breaded chicken thighs. The chicken is brined first, making it incredibly tender and juicy, then coated in a breading that's crisp, yet light and never greasy. Fresh berries add another subtle layer of sweetness, brightening the dish and tying everything together. Comfort food, elevated without losing its soul. My only complaint is I wish it came with syrup on the side so we would be in control. While I found the amount of syrup sufficient, I suspect many of the sweet-toothed among us would like much more. But this is a minor point, and all in all, this may very well be my new favorite chicken and waffles in the city. And if there had been a like button on the table, I would have pressed it without hesitation. They clearly love their mimosas here and offer a 3-flight special. Today, orange, pomegranate, and grapefruit take center stage, offering a fresh, modern take on a classic morning favorite. Bright, crisp, and refreshing, each mimosa highlights the natural character of the fruit without drowning it in sweetness. The bubbles are light, the balance is delicate, and the flavors feel intentional rather than flashy. It's an easy, elegant way to enjoy brunch, and a great option if you like your cocktails refreshing instead of heavy. We had ordered the steak medium rare, but it arrived well done. We spoke with the manager, and they graciously prepared me a new steak. The second steak came out much better, leaning closer to rare than medium rare, and honestly, I'll take slightly under rather than overcooked any day. And this is a great example of what to do when you're served something you feel is not right. We get many comments from people who complain about the food they were served. But when I ask what happened when they brought it to the attention of the manager, well, crickets. Well, just keep in mind, it's your money, and if you don't get what you like, speak up. As a former restaurant owner, I can tell you that most places, especially places here in Vegas where competition is fierce, will go out of their way to make you happy. Okay, that ends this rant. Back to the steak and eggs. In my opinion, I felt this steak is missing a sauce. This is a French restaurant after all, and so I'd expect to find a wonderful béarnaise, peppercorn, or at least an au pois served on the side. But that being said, look at this beef. It's a beautiful cut. It's 8 ounces and tastes like prime quality New York strip, and it perfectly reflects the spirit of this little bistro, simplicity done right. The meat is tender, juicy, and deeply flavorful. Many of you know I usually prefer my steak rare, but order it however you like, whether cooked a touch more or burnt to a cinder if that's your thing. The flavor here has real depth and umami. This isn't the bland, watery beef you so often find at bargain spots on the strip. It's well-sourced, well-handled beef, seasoned with confidence. There's no salt on the table, but you won't miss it. The eggs are cooked beautifully with slightly runny yolks that spill out and mingle with the steak. This is one of the best steak and egg plates I've had in Las Vegas. Don't miss it. I have a feeling you're going to love it as well. Staying in the steak lane, this hangover burger is made from freshly ground tenderloin and cooked to order in the kitchen. Again, we asked for it rare, and this time they delivered. It's rich, beefy, and surprisingly refined for something called the hangover burger. This is a new addition to the menu, and right now comes only with the side salad, but we were told in the future pommes frites will be an option as well. With generations of foodie genes in our blood, well, you can imagine my family was pretty hard to please when it came to food. Unfortunately, but not surprisingly, my mom's buttermilk pancakes were dangerously addictive, and we always looked forward to them. Well, just the sight of these buttermilk pancakes take me right back to those days. Of course, food has to please the palate, not just the eyes. And these pancakes deliver on both fronts. They're light, delicate, and full of flavor. You can clearly taste the buttermilk and vanilla, and the airy pockets inside make them tender and almost weightless. I can't stand pancakes that are dense or greasy, and these are the exact opposite. They arrive dressed in real maple syrup, fresh strawberries, blackberries, and blueberries, and topped with house-made whipped cream and just a touch of mint. Honestly, I'd be perfectly happy ordering just these, but as you all know, for the sake of the video, I had to order almost everything on the menu. Anyway, yet again, fork stays right on theme. Perfect, simple, subtle perfection. At first glance, it's love at first sight. One taste, and it's love at first bite. My mother always taught me that the simplest things are often the best, and that great recipes don't need to be complicated. Eggs Benedict is a perfect example of that philosophy when it's done right. I go way back with hollandaise sauce. I learned to make it as a boy, studying both Julia Child and Graham Kerr, the Galloping Gourmet, and I've respected it ever since. Here in this classically prepared Eggs Benedict, they absolutely nail the execution. It's picture perfect, but more importantly, it delivers in the flavor department. The hollandaise is outstanding, rich, silky, and balanced. Honestly, it's one of the best, if not the best hollandaise sauce I've ever tasted. The Canadian bacon brings that old school tradition with deep porky flavor that anchors the dish beautifully. Cut into the eggs and let the yolk spill out, mingling with the hollandaise into something truly luxurious. They pay attention to details here. The microgreens aren't just garnish, they're cilantro, so a bit of a departure from traditional French cuisine. But when you get a bite with the sauce and yolk, they add a subtle, unexpected Western-style pop that wakes up the palate and keeps the dish from feeling heavy. Elegant and executed with confidence, I greatly enjoyed this dish. Well, talk about having sky-high expectations. French toast in a French restaurant. Ooh la la! Well, this French toast is made with beautifully thick-cut brioche bread soaked in a vanilla custard that gives it a luxuriously rich, creamy interior. It's griddled to perfection, right to the edge of being deeply caramelized, but never overdone. That contrast is what makes it special. The edges are crisp, buttery, and slightly decadent. And when they give way to the soft, custardy center, it's pure French toast bliss. Sweet, subtle notes of vanilla and cinnamon lead the flavor, staying balanced and never heavy. It's finished with just the right amount of maple syrup, while fresh berries add a welcome brightness that keeps each bite lively and refreshing. Add a little of the house-made whipped cream to your fork and enjoy. And not to belabor the point, but my earlier comments about the maple syrup apply here as well. Anyway, this French toast is a straightforward recipe that respects and honors a time-cherished classic. You're going to love it. After a few minutes of steeping, slowly press the plunger down, and you're rewarded with a beautiful cup of fresh Colombian coffee. The French press brings out a fuller body and deeper aroma, letting the natural character of the beans shine without bitterness. It's rich, smooth, and comforting, the kind of coffee that makes you slow down and enjoy the moment. How do you take your coffee? I can't help but think of Bugs Bunny asking, 1 lump or 2? And to finish the day, creme brulee. Most of you know I'm very picky when it comes to creme brulee, and for good reason. This is a dessert that's been badly mistreated in Las Vegas. Too many so-called chefs have turned it into something it was never meant to be. And what you'll find on most buffets, in those pathetic little tins, staring up at you in recognition of what it isn't but could have been, well, in my opinion, an insult to the craft. And something which in days gone by would have resulted in a glove slap across the face and a challenge to a duel. That's why this version matters. This creme brulee is done right, and it's personal. It's Jerome's mother's recipe, and you can taste the respect for the dish in every spoonful. The bruleed sugar on top shatters exactly as it should when you crack into it, breaking into glass-like shards with deep caramelized flavor you expect. No, demand. Beneath it is a custard that's miles above anything else I've ever tasted in Vegas. This isn't cheap, eggy filler. It's silky, rich, and clearly made with the finest, freshest ingredients. Creamy, indulgent, and perfectly balanced, this is the kind of creme brulee that makes you plan your next visit before you've even finished the dish. If you crave a proper creme brulee, this alone is reason to run, not walk, to Fork. And why, maybe, they should have named the restaurant Spoon. Well, after tasting nearly everything on the brunch menu, it's clear Fork is doing things right. This isn't French food trying to impress you. It's French food trying to satisfy your hunger, properly. Every dish shows restraint, confidence, and respect for tradition without feeling dated or heavy. From the sauces to the proteins, nothing feels rushed, overworked, or trendy for the sake of being trendy. It's thoughtful cooking, done with care, and that matters. What really stands out is consistency. Whether you're ordering steak and eggs, classic croque madame, or something as simple as pancakes and French toast, the attention to detail never drops. This is affordable French cooking that doesn't cut corners less than a mile off the strip, and honestly, that's rare in Las Vegas. Fork feels like the kind of neighborhood restaurant locals hope for and visitors are lucky to find. So if you've ever thought French food wasn't for you, or that it had to be expensive, stuffy, or intimidating, Fork proves otherwise. This place delivers comfort, elegance, and soul on the same plate. I'll absolutely be back, and I have a feeling this is one of those restaurants we'll be talking about for years to come. Now, here's that special offer for our viewers. Mention Let's Eat Vegas sent you and receive a free Fork Blue drink or sparkling water. If this is your kind of Vegas food, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. After reviewing all the evidence, this court finds the defendant guilty as charged. Ooh. Order in the court. Now make me some proper dressing. If you're looking for more great breakfast food, start here. This one's a favorite. And if you're in the mood for something completely different, this is a carnivore's dream. We'll be back to Fork very soon. Maybe you'll see us there. Make sure to tell them Let's Eat Vegas sent you. And until we eat again, bon appetit.